everyone, and welcome to the Week 17 edition of Instant Replay, where I give you my take on the most controversial calls of the weekend. I'm Simon Borg. We start in LA for Galaxy vs. Timbers and two plays involving Landon Donovan. First, in the 73rd minute, Donovan goes down in the box after contact from Timbers defender Danny O'Rourke. But referee Jair Marufo does well not to whistle for the PK. Yes, O'Rourke puts his hand on Donovan's back, but he doesn't push him. No foul. Then, just 2 minutes later, a foul is whistled for this Diego Chara tackle on Donovan. But when I look at all the angles on this play, I just can't see where the contact happens. Nothing ultimately comes of the play, but Chara does get a yellow card, meaning he's out for the next game against the Sounders. Next to Salt Lake, where RSL beat the Revolution 2-1, and both their goals came on penalty kicks. Let's look at the two fouls. In the 33rd minute, Revs defender Darius Barnes doesn't even go up for the header and instead leans into Chris Schuler right under the nose of referee Alan Chapman. I agree with the call, and Javier Morales steps up to convert the spot kick. And then in the 64th minute, there's a clear foul in the box by Chris Tierney on RSL's John Sturzer. But what's interesting is that this play probably should have been stopped for an offside call on Devin Sandoval before the foul ever happens. You see here, when the shot goes off, Sandoval looks like he's in an offside position. But assistant Corey Rockwell, who had a better angle than we do, doesn't flag it. Now, the officials did well to call off a goal by RSL earlier in the match. You see here in the 60th minute, Morales looks to deflect this ball with the top part of his left arm. Good eye by referee Alan Chapman. And there probably should have been a red card in this game. It's the 57th minute, and instead of hurtling over John Sturzer, New England's Lee Wynn stomps on his back. That's a straight red card for me. I thought Wynn could have avoided it. We'll see if the MLS Disciplinary Committee agrees. Next to Colorado, where Rapids fans thought they had a penalty kick in the 37th minute. But to me, Vicente Sanchez simply mistimes his jump. There's no real push from the Crew defender, unlike what happened with Barnes and Schuler in Salt Lake. In fact, Sanchez doesn't even bother protesting. An interesting play to review in the 57th minute. Columbus thought they took the lead when Jairo Arrieta knocks home this cross, but it's flagged offside by assistant Jeff Hosking, who's clearly several feet behind the play. When I look at the replay, it seems like Arrieta is actually in line with the ball, and the goal should have stood for me. And the Crew will really be feeling aggrieved with what occurred in the 78th minute. Look at how Sanchez sends his studs into the knee of Hector Jimenez. I would have wanted to see 2 red cards handed out on that play. But Sanchez gets by with just a yellow, and Jimenez is stretchered out of the game. Moving on to Frisco and Dallas vs. Philadelphia. It's the 35th minute, and Zach Lloyd stomps on the foot of Danny Cruz with the ball long gone. I thought this one was a red card, because even if you argue that Lloyd is going for the ball, what kind of tackle involves lifting your leg and stomping down like that? Lloyd doesn't even see a yellow for that one. But there was a red card in this game. It's the 89th minute, and Philadelphia's Maurice Adu goes in with studs showing from behind on Blas Perez. No argument from me on the red shown by referee Edvin Jurasevich. A quick jaunt down south to Houston, and one play to look at here. The penalty kick awarded to the Dynamo with 9 minutes left in the match. It's Red Bull's right back Chris Duval who's called for the handball in the box, except I'm not as convinced as referee Ismail Elfa. I can see how you maybe get the impression it was a handball in real time based on how Duval's body moves, but on the replay it looks like it hit the upper part of his chest. Back to StubHub and Saturday's match between Chivas and Montreal, and an advantage situation to look at in minute 63. Mauro Rosales is fouled just outside the box, but he continues his run into the area and prepares to cross the ball when referee Juan Guzman stops the play instead for the foul. Whether a referee allows for advantage is always a judgment call, and he only has a couple of seconds to make the decision. Now, we head to BMO Field, where DC wrecked Michael Bradley's homecoming party, and I think the visitors should have had a penalty kick early in this one. In the 18th minute, Chris Rolfe beats Toronto goalkeeper Joe Bendick to this ball in the box, and he's bundled over by the keeper. That's a penalty to me, but referee David Gantar doesn't call it. And now to the end of the match, and the disputed red card shown to rookie Nick Hagelin. The Toronto defender brings down Eddie Johnson in the open field, and at first, Gantar, who's trailing the play, issues a yellow. However, after conferring with his assistants, he goes to the back pocket and hands out red for denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Now, like advantage calls, dog show also involves a judgment call by the referee. And according to the laws of the game, the ref needs to take into account things like the distance between the foul and the goal, the direction of the play, the number of defenders around the ball. Now, in my opinion, this foul was too far from goal to be an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Yellow would have been the right call in my book. And we end in Kansas City, and before we get to Selfie Gate, we'll look at this penalty kick appeal from Sporting Kansas City in the 77th minute. The cross comes in from Graham Zusi, and Sporting KC contend there was a handball by Bakary Soumare. There was no replay of it, but when we blow up the footage, it looks like the ball comes off Dom Dwyer's shoulder. Referee Alan Kelly did well not to call the handball. But Dwyer was involved in a play that created plenty more discussion. After scoring in the 33rd minute, he got creative and celebrated by taking a selfie with the crowd. But it cost him a yellow card for excessive celebration. Now, the laws of the game address choreographed celebrations, and on page 126 it says, quote, "The practice of choreographed celebrations is not to be encouraged when it results in excessive time wasting." But I don't think that time wasting is an issue here. But perhaps Kelly determined that the celebration was, as the rules also state, quote, "provocative, derisory, or inflammatory," in which case a player has to be cautioned. That argument I can buy. Now, everyone's thoughts immediately went to last year's choreographed pizza celebration by Dominic Coduro, which was not punished by a yellow card. But in Kansas City, they're not far into celebration controversy. In March 2012, you may remember the jig danced by Kai Kamara and CJ Sapong, which did not result in caution cards. But earlier in that game, Graham Zusi's celebration with the Cauldron supporters did earn him a yellow. And yes, the laws of the game address that too. Quote, "A player must be cautioned if he climbs onto a perimeter fence to celebrate a goal being scored." Well, then by that same measure, Eric El Cubo Torres probably deserved the yellow for his post-game celebration on Saturday. Remember Tony Chani getting a second yellow back in 2011 for celebrating like that? But back to Sunday. We want to know what you think. Did Dwyer deserve a caution for the selfie, or did you like the creativity of the celebration? As for us, that's all we have for this week. For our editor, Abner Aceves, I'm Simon Borg. See you next time.